right, good morning, everyone. Hopefully, everyone is doing well. My name is Patrick France, Senior Instructor here at VectorVest. Glad to be with you guys. Today, we've got a personal favorite or fan favorite that you guys chose, a viewer request here. And we're going to be taking a look at hot stocks, how to utilize them, how to trade them, whether you should be, long-term, short-term, and everything that you could possibly want to know. Showing you how to do that here on the VectorVest Stock Advisory app. Before we get started, just want to make sure everybody can hear me. So if you can hear me, let me know in the comments. Let me know that audio is coming through for you, that the video is showing up for you guys. Want to make sure everybody's having a good, enjoyable time here before we get started. And while I'm waiting for that, hey there, Caden. Good morning. Hopefully you're doing well. Anthony by Bitcoin. We can take a look at some Bitcoin stocks. Wally, good morning. Let's see. Jenny, we can definitely take a look at some of those, later on when we analyze your stocks there. Good morning, Jay, Russell, Felix, tuning in from Florida. Hopefully you're doing well. Let's see. Kay, looking really a lot of gold and Bitcoin here. I see Bitcoin seems to be popping up a lot here from you guys so far this morning. Joel, good morning. Hopefully you're doing well. Lewis, tuning in from Puerto Rico. Glad to have you here. Tripoli tuning in from South Africa. Awesome. Glad to have you here as well. Market is down today. We can definitely get into that. So audio is good. You guys are saying everything is looking good. Awesome. Glad to see that. Hopefully everyone is having a good morning so far. Markets have been pulling back a little bit, but we'll see what's going on right now in just a few moments. So before we get started, just want to cover what we do here every Thursday in case you're brand new. So every Thursday we go live here on Facebook where we talk about the VectorVest Stock Advisory app. If you're not familiar with it, it's the trading app that allows you to manage your portfolio, shows you when to get into the market, when to get out, shows you what stocks to buy. Really, it's the most all-encompassing app you could possibly get is if you're investing in the market at all. If you're new to it, I'm glad to have you all here. You're definitely in the right spot if you're wanting to get in the market. If you've been here for a while, thank you guys for continuing to show some support. Glad to have you all here. If you haven't already, make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to turn on the notifications for VectorVest here. So that way you keep up to date with all of our sessions that we do. But just to give you a little insight on how we typically run our sessions. So, we start off taking a look at what's going on in the market today. After that, we then move into our topic. So, you guys requested it from last week. Our topic is going to be looking at hot stocks and when to take advantage of them, when not to take advantage of them. And then, as always, we finish off at the very end with the person or with the fan. We analyze any stock that you want to take a look at and show you how you can do so in less than 20 seconds, right from any smart device that you would be using. So, with that, let's go ahead, jump right into it. Glad to have everyone here. I see a lot of questions about the market being down, what I should do, where I should go buy. Well, if you have questions about that, you're in the right spot. We're going to cover all of that here today, so make sure to stick around. I do understand, though, people are busy, and sometimes you can't always watch the whole session. You can't stick around for the whole session. I get it. We do record all of these sessions, so you can go right to our Facebook page, facebook.com/VectorVest7. And you can click on the live link there, and that'll take you to a replay of all the live sessions we've ever done. So if you're, ever not able to stick around for the whole thing, you can always come back and rewatch it later and catch back up on anything that you missed there. So awesome. Glad to have everyone here. Let's go ahead, jump right into the market, see what's going on here today. So as you can see, we do have 3 ticks into the yellow. Therefore, the color guard is neutral, and VectorVest advocates caution when buying stocks at this time. If we scroll down, we take a closer look at really what's happening. We really start to look at the color guard. Now, the color guard is where we analyze the overall market each and every day for 3 main factors to identify, which way the market's heading. Do we have strength? Do we have momentum? All of that here really gives you a good idea of the overall sense of the market right now. So the first indicator we take a look at is the price of the VectorVest composite. Is the price moving higher day over day, week over week? Is the price moving lower day over day, week over week? Or do we have mixed signals there? The second indicator is going to be the RT, which is looking at the short-term price trend of the overall market. Now, it's cast on a scale of 0 to 2. So above 1, the short-term trend is up. Below 1, the short-term trend is down. And now when I speak on the overall market, I'm simply referring to the VectorVest composite. The VectorVest composite is an arithmetic indexed average of about 8,200 stocks that we track in the US market each and every day. Now, if you're in other markets such as South Africa, Canada, any other markets around the world, we do offer the same information on those markets, and they would just be pertaining to those particular markets as well. Then we get to the buy to sell ratio. Now, each and every day, we give a buy, hold, and sell rating on every stock every day. We analyze the buys and to the sells to identify if there's market strength or weakness. If we have more stocks with a buy than a sell, obviously that's going to show market strength. If we have more sells than buys, then the buy to sell ratio is going to be below 1, and that would show overall market weakness. So at 2.71, we still have, over twice as many stocks with a buy rating than a sell rating, showing more stocks are still participating in this market than not participating currently. And then we get the MTI, which the MTI is looking at the averages, if you will, of the price, the RT, and the BSR. So it really looks at the underlying trend of the market here. Now, this is going to be cast on a scale of 0 to 2. Above 1, underlying trend is up. Below 1, underlying trend is down. And one thing that you probably notice right out of the gate, the price is down from the day or the prior day. The RT is down from the prior day. The buy to sell ratio is down from the prior day. But yet the MTI is moving higher. And this can happen. This is looking at, once again, the averages, if you will, or the trends of the price, the RT, and the BSR. And so even though those right now, as of today, they're down slightly, the overall trend of those are still rising on a day-over-day basis. So keep that in mind as we move forward throughout today's session. Then after that, we get the trend column where we look at two parts of the trend each and every day. The first part is looking at the primary wave, which is just simply the weekly trend of the market. So it's up since we're higher on a week-over-week basis here. The next is looking at the underlying trend or just reiterating that MTI. So since the MTI is above 1, the underlying trend of the market is also up. And then we finally get the calls column, which is going to stand for our confirmed calls. Now, this is for our more conservative investors out there. It's going to be our last signal we get to get into the market and our last signal we get to get out. As you can see for right now, we still remain in a confirmed up situation. But as always, every single week, we like to check the advanced declines to make sure we have confirmation. So right now, even though we have 3 yellow lights, there's about 36% of stocks moving higher, 51% of stocks moving lower. So if we're going to be looking for days to buy, we like to see twice as many stocks advancing than declining. And if we're looking to play the market to the downside, we want to see twice as many stocks declining than advancing. That way it puts the probability on our side. And investing is all about probabilities and putting them in your favor. So right now we really don't have a 2-to-1 bias in either direction. So therefore we're probably going to be sitting on our hands, not really getting into any new stocks, just currently managing our current holdings right now. Then we scroll down, we take a look at the major indices. So we get the Dow basically flat, NASDAQ being one of the worst performers, down 1.2% so far. S&P down a little less than 0.5%. Overall VectorVest composite also down about a little less than 0.5%. So that's the market review for right now. And where is it? Let's see. Bruce. So Bruce is bringing in the VV Nation, and that actually brings me to a good point. So we do have a fellow colleague of mine, Glenn Tompkins, who does a lot of streams over on our YouTube page. If you've never been over there, go check that out. He's awesome, fantastic instructor, really knows his stuff, and knows how to relay that information for an individual to be able to actually put to use. His group or his following or his chat, they call themselves the VV Nation. Glenn and I were talking here the other day. We need to come up with a name for us. So next week I'll make a poll up with a few different options. You guys get a vote and decide what we want to go with here. So if you're interested in that, Bruce brought it up. Thank you for that, Bruce. If you're interested in it, make sure to stick around next week. We do have also a special release topic next week. So if you're an Android user, you're definitely going to want to be here next week as well. Because we do have some great information to be coming out with that. So I just wanted to throw that out before I forgot about it, before we jump into today's topic. So with that, let's go ahead, jump into today's topic, and that's going to be looking at hot stocks. Now, this will require the premium version of the Stock Advisory app. If you don't have it, click on the link in the comments there or in the description of the video, and you can upgrade or set up for that right now so you can get the same functionality that we're discussing here today. So we go to the picks section down at the bottom. And as always, the very first section is going to be the hot stocks. This is going to be where we spend a lot of time here today. Now, one thing that we always talk about though is every single day, we always talk about market direction. You know, that's the single most important factor you need to be aware of when making any decision in the market. You need to know whether it's a good time to buy or not a good time to buy. If it's a good time to buy, at the very top, you'll see that little gauge there in the upper right. That'll tell us, you know, it's a good time to be buying. It'll say bullish, and you can get more insight on that right here just by tapping on it. Right now, it is neutral, so we know that we advocate caution. We looked at the advanced declines. That's telling us that, you know, we're getting a little bit, or, you know, we'll probably hold off for the day. We're not going to be buying anything today, but when we see that in the green, we want you to be prepared, show you how to take advantage of it, show you how easy it is to find some hot stocks, especially if you're a short-term trader that you can take advantage of. Do you have beginner videos for people just getting into stocks? Yeah, Lily, we do. Under the more section, sorry to get sidetracked, but want to answer that question because a lot of people ask about this on a daily or on a weekly basis. Go to the Resource Center. You have the Successful Investing Quick Start course. It's free, a free training course to give you, you know, insight on how to become or how to get into the market, what everything means for a beginner. So check that out if you're new. It's a great resource you have available to you to learn how to trade, the basics of trading, all of that there. All right, so let's say today the markets are up. We have the advanced declines in positive territory, more stocks advancing than declining. Everything's looking good. So we come into the picks. We want to find a stock to buy for the day. And when you look at the hot stocks, these are not for short, or these are not for long-term investing for the most part. These are going to be more of your speculative to aggressive short-term trades. Simple as that. You know, so if you're a long-term investor, you have other options that you'd be taking a look at. Today's session is going to be geared more towards a short-term trader. So somebody, by short-term, I mean somebody who could be trading for a week or two, somebody that could be holding the position for maybe up to 3 months or so. You know, swing trader, all of that there. So momentum traders, swing traders, those types of traders are really going to get the most benefit out of the hot stocks. So let's go ahead, take a look at hot stocks. As we know, the major indices are lower here today. So we are going to see some stocks pulling back, but even with the major indices down, you can still see some stocks moving higher. This is going to happen. Just because some of these stocks are moving higher does not mean we should go out and buy them though. Obviously, once again, always check the gauge right or on the page before this to make sure it's a good time to buy. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of these. FXH is an ETF. So with ETFs, we first off started to take a look at the analysis of them. The RV is looking at the long-term potential. It's a fundamental indicator. The RS is looking at the risk factor involved. It's another fundamental indicator. Because these ETFs don't have fundamentals, because they don't report quarterly earnings, they don't have balance sheets that they have to maintain, all of that, the RV and RS are always going to be pegged at 1. So with an ETF, your primary focus is going to be the timing, the RT, that short-term price trend. Above 1 shows that the short-term trend is up. Below 1, short-term trend is down. Then we overall VST, which is going to look at all 3 indicators that comprise them into one simple to read indicator that's going to look on both a fundamental and a technical basis, all into one for you. Yeah, Matthew, we are live right now. The 3 lights on the color guard were all green at the end of the day yesterday. Why didn't it switch to all 3 yellows lights this morning? So Ashok, because we're still higher on a week over week basis, but we are lower from the prior day. That's why we see the 3 yellow lights. And that's why we talked about, even though they're lower on a day-to-day basis, they are still, moving higher on an average basis overall, on a short-term average basis. But on a day-to-day basis, they are back down a little bit from the prior day. How about day trading? Can you make money off of day trades with as much as $50 trade? Yeah, I mean, you can, especially with zero commission brokerage options out there. You can ask anybody who's part of our jockey club if they're in here. I know a lot of jockey club members come in every week. We had a day trade just, when was it? Tuesday, I believe it was. We were up 50% at one point. I got a little greedy, but still took out 22% on that trade in a matter of less than 30 minutes. So yeah, you can definitely day trade with as little as $50. But make sure to be careful with your brokerage that they will block you from trading if you don't have certain capital requirements in your account. So if you're wanting to day trade cap, talk to your brokerage, check out all their rules and regulations and restrictions that they have for day traders and what it takes to get signed up or get or classified as a day trader, and make sure you meet all those requirements, because you don't want to, go into a blind, get caught up, and get into a trade thinking it's going to be a day trade, and the next thing you know, you can't close out of it for the next 3 days because of that. All right. What do you think of forward buy or not, Jerry? So stick around till the end. As always, we'll analyze any stock that you guys want to take a look at the end. So if you guys are asking about stocks you want to analyze, stick around to the end. We'll get to all those. Keep those in mind, and we'll definitely take a look at them in a few moments. All right. So looking at it, FXH. Let's go ahead and take a look at the graph. So right now you can see we're looking at a 3-month graph notated at the bottom. I have the MACD on here since we were talking about MACD last week. I figured I'd add it here again since a lot of people enjoy looking at the MACD. And then at the top, I have a 20-day exponential moving average. This is something more of a swing trader mentality would use. I noticed if anybody's familiar with Glenn Tompkins, he looks at it quite a lot. So I figured I'd add it here today because that does give more of that swing trade perspective or outlook on a stock. And as you can see right now, price is trading above that 20-day moving average. MACD did have a pullback, but just starting to go positive again. Obviously, these types of trades, whenever you're short-term trading like this, a great entry if you're looking for it as an entry for a swing trade, a great rule of thumb would be utilizing something like buy stop limit orders. We talk about them every single night when we talk about our hot stocks. And a stock like this would be a great way to get in. Make sure the stock is moving higher upon purchasing. And if you're not familiar with that, the limit orders are basically putting it 15 cents above the prior day's high. So, yesterday we had a high of 94.60. So you'd put an order in, let's say 94.75. And that way, if it moves higher here today, which it didn't, it would have gotten filled and you would have bought a rising stock in a rising market. Now, as we can see, the buy stop limit order would have also saved you the headache of jumping in using a market order and having the stock go down right out of the gate because the overall major indices were down. So buy stop limit orders can greatly help reduce your risk and make sure that you're buying a rising stock at the time of purchase. Is the hot stock picker somewhere else on Android? So Mike, if you're asking about Android, once again, next week will be all about Android. I've never done a live stream on an Android device, so it's going to be a little different. I've got a lot to do to figure out, make sure everything works fine. But if you're Android users, make sure to stick around or make sure to tune in next week because we do have a special stream for you all on Android. So not going to ruin the surprise right now, but if you're an Android user, next week you're going to have a field day with our topic of our main topic here. All right. Yeah, so hopefully that answers your questions on the Android stuff. All right, so FXH, great opportunity, has a nice rising price from bottom left to upper right over the last 3 months. MACD just starting to rise here as well. Has a lot of opportunity or a lot of potential here. Looking at the next one, New York Times. Not only has this stock been going up for the last 3 months, it's definitely had a nice pop off the bottoms that we saw the beginning or end of March. And it's still continuing to rock and roll. Came down, touched that 20-day exponential moving average, and then popped right off of that back up to a new high here. This is a great look. Now, one thing that a lot of you guys may be noticing, especially if you were tuning in from last week, is that the MACD is slowly drifting lower as price is moving higher. So just be careful of that. Keep that in mind that you do see a potential bearish divergence setting up. But for the time being, take advantage of it while it lasts. Just remember that there is a potential bearish divergence here, and that you may want to be a little bit more cautious and make sure that, if you see any signs of weakness whatsoever, you're locking your profits in. But once again, these are short-term trades, so you got to keep your mindset focused on what your objective is here. Next one, CWH. Nice steady rise in price. You saw MACD was slowly drifting lower, just starting to turn positive again here over the last few days. Another great opportunity to use a buy stop limit order. New trader, VectorVest been great. Helped me build my portfolio. Awesome. Glad to hear it, Matthew. And welcome. Glad to have you on the stream here today. Is the Jockey Club on weekly Monday through Friday? Yes, every single day, Monday through Friday, as long as the markets are open, we do the Jockey Club here. What are your MACD parameters? Hard to see on the smartphone. So MACD, just standard defaults. Go into the MACD, click on settings, 12, 26, and 9. Great question though. But yeah, just the standard defaults on the MACD. Nothing special, no customization, just to make it easy. Graph thumbnail view and the desktop platform. Yeah, there definitely is, Amir. So Brian, next week, not going to spoil it. Next week, be here. You'll get your answers you're looking for. All right. So next one we move into CARR. Only down 0.25%. Nice steady rise in price you can see over the last 3 months using that 20-day exponential moving average. You had one touch here. It bounced right off of that, continued to move higher. You have another touch here, bounced right off of that, made a nice run. A few touches of consolidation around here, bounced off, now to a new high. This is exactly what we're looking for here. And this is why using a 20-day exponential moving average can be a really good opportunity for you, especially if you're not familiar with moving averages. So, as you can see, CAR, another great possibility we can trade here. Now, if we go back, taking a look at some of the fundamentals here, we notice, look at the RV, below 1, RS a little bit above 1. So this is considered more of a conservative stock, but a high momentum stock right now. The main focus with all of these is going to be RT, that short-term price trend. So with that being said, 1.84, really strong uptrend. You do have some indecisive fundamentals, so these aren't going to be for your long-term buy and holds, where you typically would put more emphasis on your fundamentals. On the hot stocks, is there a watch list that shows stocks that would be candidates for options? So we do have some. Kevin, give our supporter call. They can help you out. So Allies asking about, so the European version or the EU version, the data feed that we can get is only end of day. We don't have intraday or real-time data feeds for those markets. Only for US and Canada do we have streaming data feeds for those. Approach for long-term, how should we act for Tesla, for example? So Stefan, long-term, you're really going to be putting a primary focus on RS. I would definitely go back. I don't have enough time to go all into what you would look for a long-term holding again today, but go back and take a look at some of our past videos where we talk about RS, and those will help you identify what types of strategies you should implement for long-term investing. All right, so once again, SPWH, Sportman's Warehouse, look at the fundamentals. Poor RV, poor RS, but really strong momentum. This is going to be not for the faint of heart. This is going to be a stock that, a trader would like, but a investor is not going to like. CWH, poor long-term potential, a lot of risk, but has a lot of momentum behind it right now. No surprise. With everybody worried about going out in public, you can't go to public parks, you can't go to all these different things. People are going to be, looking towards camping as an outlet to get out of the house, get outdoors, get some air, and, enjoy some family time. So I can see why that's making sense with all the headlines going on right now. Let's see. NYT, poor long-term potential, but solid, consistent fundamentals or consistent earnings. So they have less risk, but they do have poor long-term potential associated with it. You do have some good momentum though right now. And then FXH, for example, we talked about that as an ETF. So here's a list of just some hot stocks that are moving up. Obviously, before you ever buy any of these hot stocks, you do want to take a look at the gauge at the top right before you dive into them on what stocks to be buying. That is going to be the biggest factor, is making sure you're buying into a rising market that has the stock prices rising as well. So Robert, our RV or long-term upside potential is looking at the next 1 to 3 years and comparing it to a safer investment in things such as like AAA corporate bonds. That's how it's comparing it to. It's not comparing it to, timing or anything else. It's comparing the potential based on their financial reports to a AAA corporate bond rate, and does it have the ability to, or, based off of that fundamental analysis, does it have that ability to outperform a AAA corporate bond over the next 1 to 3 years, or does it not have that ability to outperform over the next 1 to 3 years? Great question, though. And then finally, high momentum stocks. I think we can all agree on what these types of stocks are going to be. Pretty self-explanatory in the name. Also, one other thing I forgot to point out, these little eyes in the upper right of each box, if you tap on them here, it gives you a quick description of what each section is looking for. So, for example, hot stocks is looking at containing lists of stocks that are trending upwards over the last few weeks or months. So that should help, if you're confused on what these sections are looking for, that should help clarify that for you. All right. So high momentum stocks. No surprise seeing a gold and silver stock coming to the very top of the list as number one. Since these are high momentum stocks, and we know that RT is looking at the momentum and price trend or price direction of a stock, let's go ahead and rank them by RT instead. Now, you can see we definitely switched that list up a lot. All these at the very top have RTs of 2.0, showing that they have extremely strong momentum behind them right now. Let's go take a look at BE, for example. BE, look at the fundamental analysis though. Poor RV, poor RS, showing these are speculative plays. So if you're not comfortable with speculation and taking advantage of trading stocks based on news and rumors, those types of things, obviously stay away. But if you're looking for some opportunities to make some quick gains and get in and out, this is a great list to go by. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. You can see huge moves over the last 2 days. Even if you missed out yesterday, you took advantage of a 1 day look. It opened, let's see where it opened at. 17 and some change. Let's call that 1750. Ran up to a high of 1960. Definitely had some opportunities in between that run to, what's the old way? We had a guy by the name of Dennis that used to work here. He would call it sweeping pennies off the table. You definitely had an opportunity to sweep some pennies off the table here. Or in other words, you have some opportunities to make some small gains without getting greedy. There's an old saying, bulls make money, bears make money, but pigs get slaughtered. And when you get greedy, you're being a pig about it. So that's why, you have some opportunities to take advantage of that here. Between hot stocks and high momentum stocks. So Matt, hot stocks is going to be looking for more swing trade ideas. High momentum stocks is going to be looking at more day trade to weekly trade ideas, shorter time frames. So Hot stocks could go, a week or two to up to 3 months. High momentum stocks, it's all about momentum. So as long as that momentum is there, which could be a day, 2 days, 3 days, maybe a week, but you're going to be a lot shorter on that. And as we can see, BE being a prime example. Right out of the gate this morning, it had a great run, but the run is done. Now starting to pull back a little bit. Still up 4.8% for the day, but from where it was, definitely seeing some weakness. It looks like a lot of the traders are already starting to move out of it. And now you have more of the swing traders, longer investors, those types of people starting to jump on board. However, all right, so that's BE. Lumber liquidators, up 5% here today. Once again, poor fundamentals. RVRS below 1, telling us it has poor long-term potential. We're taking a lot of risk with this stock, but momentum trader's dream right now. It's at 2.0. Can't go any higher than that. Looking at the 1 day, went from $17.60. Now it's trading just shy of $19. Not a bad day's work. Real easy to take advantage of some of those moves there. We look at the last 3 months, even on a swing trade basis, you have, a nice steady rise. Every time it's hit that 20-day exponential moving average, it's bounced off of that, and you're getting some more momentum over the last few days as well. LRN, huge momentum over the last few weeks. Even if you didn't take advantage of it right when it started breaking out, there's still opportunities over the last few weeks that anybody could have taken advantage of. So this is a great opportunity. Look at the MACD. MACD turned positive. Let's see what day that was. Right around maybe one other day, the 30th of June, and it closed at 27.24. Now it's trading at 44.70. There's a lot of money to be made in the middle of that. You don't have to hit the exact bottom and exact low, but you can take advantage and make some decent gains in the middle of that big run. Unable to access. If you're having issues, Gabriel, just give our support a call. They can help you out more than I can right now. To touch on the question about long term, made a slight aggressive trade on Alta last week. Beauty industry has been hurting. But after this pandemic dies down, I anticipate a major surge. That was my idea. But think about what you're doing there. Look at that from a subjective or objective manner there, Matthew. You're speculating. So as a speculator, you're taking on a lot more risk because you don't have the exact numbers to back that up for the time being. So knowing that you're speculating on that, treat your trade differently than you would if you're buying it for a long-term trade. So that's all I'm saying is, if you're speculating, make sure you're, aware of it. You admit to yourself that you're speculating and treat the trade differently than a buy and hold type of investment. Is there a search for the MACD crossover? Not in the mobile app there, Matt, but in the desktop version, there is some technical scans that you can run. If you want more info, just give our support a call. They can help you out there. All right. So as we can see, great momentum, really hot stock. Even today, you had some opportunities on an intraday basis. SSSS. So this is a stock that's had a great run over the last few months. You've gone from about $6 a share all the way up to $13.50. One thing I was definitely looking into this a little bit earlier here today. You have stock. Let's zoom out to a 1 year. Stock was moving sideways for a little bit, then all of a sudden just started picking up in the last few months, and then broke out to a new 1 year high, just a few days ago, shown here, and continuing to run. This is what we like to call, I've talked about in the past, it's a trading pattern called a green line breakout. Comes from a guy by the name of Dr. Wish. He has a great blog that he does out there, individual trader, but I've learned a lot of trading from a lot of different sources, and that was a great source that I learned about many years ago. This is a very strong bullish sign for a long-term run on a stock that not only has great momentum right now, but has the ability and showing potential to make even better runs in the future here. So this is something that I wanted to point that out because I know a lot of you guys who have been here for a while may recognize that, and I wanted to make sure everybody's aware of that too. So if you're interested in the green line breakouts, this could definitely be a candidate to look at. Downloading the software to my MacBook Pro. Aaron, just give our support a call. Unfortunately, I can't troubleshoot that stuff while we're live, but our support definitely can, and they can help you out with that. Why some trade option? Some are cheap. Regan, if you're trading options, it has a lot to do with the cost of the stock. The actual price of the stock has to do a lot with the time value you're buying, the deltas, the Greeks into it. There's a lot of things there. Marty, it's Dr. Wish, wishingwealthblog.org or .com, I believe is the name, or is his website. But yeah, it's a name of Dr. Wish. Really great resource you can use. All right, so Sutter Rock, once again, 6% here today. It's gone from $6 a share 3 months ago to a high of over doubling now in 3 month time span. All right, ZVO, you have a lot of volatility over the last year, but if we zoom into a 3 month, every single time it touched that 20-day moving average, exponential moving average, and then bounces off, continue to do that, just did that a week ago, and now you're up to a nice run as well. MACD, looking at MACD, given confirmation that you're building strength, and strength is continuing to build since those bars are getting bigger and bigger. All right, AEYE, you do see some candlestick patterns that you may be a little concerned with, but this would be a great place for a buy stop limit order once again. BMRA, a day trader's dream with such a big move. It's gone from $10 to almost $12 in a single day, giving you a lot of time to trade that on an intraday basis. Still up big here, but definitely well off of its highs. You're seeing a lot of those day traders that were trading this earlier taking their profits off the table at this point. And then Sportman Warehouse, we already looked at that one. I'm not going to cover that. VUZI. A lot of volatility with these, but at the same time, you're moving sideways, showing some consolidation, and then you're getting a big pop here once again. This could be a great opportunity for a buy stop limit order. All right, so those are going to be our two lists that we really wanted to cover here today. If you have any questions, let me know in the chat there. If you haven't already hit the like button, make sure to do so on this video. Make sure to hit this share button as well. Get this information out to all your friends, all your family. Help them become better investors to, set themselves up for the future to become financially independent and be able to trade for a living and not have to, work for somebody else, if you will. So if you haven't already done that and you learned something new today, don't forget to hit that like button, turn on the notifications on the VectorVest page. So that way you get up-to-date information with all the new things coming out and all the updates on our Facebook events as well. So with that, let's go ahead, jump into the fan favorite where we'll analyze any stock that you want to take a look at and show you how you can do so in less than 20 seconds. So Russell's coming in. I've seen him been asking about this stock quite a lot. SPAQ. This is an aggressive trade. Not an aggressive. This is a speculative trade. Poor long-term potential. A lot of risk with the RS being below 1. Timing is at 1, telling us that it's really flat on a short-term basis. Overall, stock is not favorable here. So we take a look at the graph. This, once again, is a speculative trade. So keep that in mind. This is a day trader's dream. You have a lot of momentum higher and lower. Look at those big candles. You had this one day it went from $15 a share all the way up to, let's call that 21 and some change. This is a day trader stock. This is not a swing trader stock. This is not a buy and hold stock. This is clearly a day trader's dream. If you're not a day trader, this is stock you don't want to be in. So that goes without saying. It's pretty much right now a setup for a dead cat bounce is the way it's looking, which is not a good sign. It shows that, you had the one day. Okay, we'll just break it down a little bit here based off of the candlesticks. You had the one day, everybody made some money buying it. Everybody looks like a great trader. The next day, everybody who missed out the first day were buying it. People were selling it that were buying in late on the first day. Okay, so third day, people are still sticking around. Oh, this thing can't go down. It's gone from 10 to 15 overnight, basically. Well, everybody, when they got to that 21 and some change, started selling. The stock dropped drastically. Anybody who is not confident, doesn't have a plan, is now allowing their emotions to trade for them and stuck left holding the bag and losing money. And from that point forward, next day, you're just losing money. So these are stocks with an RV and an RS below 1. You do not stick around for very long. You simply take advantage of it while you can, but make sure you're ready to get out at, any moment's notice. Shouldn't future news or news like a merger have an impact on a stock like that? Yes, it does, which is why you saw these 3 days here. But that is rumor. That is not actual news. There's that saying, buy on the rumor, sell on the news. And that's exactly what happened here. And when you buy on that, that is speculating. You are speculating that there's going to be a merger. No actual evidence of that merger has come to light. No deal has been signed. Therefore, you're speculating. Once again, RV and RS below 1 tell us it's a speculative play. It matches up. Makes sense. So we agree that yes, they are speculating that the stock will have a merger, but that doesn't mean that it's going to. And that news is not official. So you treat it as such. All right. Let's see. Where was it? Let's go. BABA. Let's go ahead and do BABA. BABA. Good long-term potential. Pretty solid fundamentals. Timing 1.3. Steady short-term uptrend. Overall, the stock is favorable. Yeah, it's pulling back off of its highs. The market's showing weakness. It's part of the NASDAQ. It's a tech-heavy index. And we've seen the NASDAQ being hit the hardest as of the last few days, or this week so far. But, look at the run that it's had. Depending on what your investment plan is for it. If you're a short-term trader, you've made a great run. It's still staying above the 20-day moving average or exponential moving average. MACD is still moving in the right direction. But this stock has pretty big swings. You got to be willing to sit through that and trade your plan accordingly to that. If you're looking at a long-term perspective, that's a 1 year. Stock's gone from 160 to 260 in a matter of a year. That's not a bad hold, especially with solid fundamentals. So it depends on what your investment style is, but the stock overall is a good stock. If you're wanting to get into it today's not the time to buy it. We already saw on the homepage it's telling us we should not be buying anything right now because we're neutral and we don't have the advanced declines in favor of buying or selling here today. So we're just simply maintaining, not adding new positions. This could be one you keep on your list. So when it does start turning back around, you're able to get in, get a better bargain for it. But right now is just simply a maintain your current holding day, not jump into this stock day. Let's see, TSLA, since a lot of people are talking about Tesla, let's go ahead and do that one. Tesla, poor long-term potential. So you have more potential over the next 1 to 3 years to outperform in a AAA corporate bond than you do with Tesla. But the RS, the fundamental indicator, analyzing the balance sheet, 1.34, really, really strong fundamentals. So this is more of a conservative stock here. You're really wanting lower risk, but willing to give up some of that higher reward. But since a lot of people are buying into safety over the last, really since the beginning of the year, since people are buying into safety, you do have this as also a momentum play on a stock with good fundamentals. Now, doesn't mean that price necessarily backs up, doesn't mean the fundamentals necessarily back up that $1,500 price tag on it. So be careful of that because it could be artificially inflated since you have a lot more people than that typically would go into Tesla into it right now. So be careful of a pullback with it. But overall, as a long-term holding, it's a good, solid, fundamental play. CCXX. Not finding CCXX. Boxlight Corp. So if you don't know the ticker symbol, as always, you can just start typing in the name of the stock, BOXL. Pulls right up. Give me 1 second while I take a quick drink here. There we go. Whoo! Up 70% here today. Day trader's dream. Look at that. Poor long-term potential. A lot of risk associated with it. Telling us this is a speculative play right now, folks. Timing 2.0. I mean, anybody can make money day trading a stock like that. You know, a lot of the move was made already at the open here. But at the same time, it's gone from $3.20 all the way up to $4.80 right out of the gate. You had a sell-off, making a second run right now. Be careful. Sometimes if those second runs don't really amount to as much as the first run does. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, definitely a speculative play right now. And I take it some news came out about it that's making everybody jump on board today. Netflix, let's go ahead. NFLX. Looking at Netflix, good long-term potential, great long-term potential, solid fundamentals, nice steady uptrend. So this is a prudent stock. You know, you want solid fundamentals or less risk and good long-term potential all into one. This is a great example of it. You have nice momentum behind it to the upside. Overall, the stock is favorable. Now, once again, it isn't a NASDAQ. The NASDAQ is or has been the best performer. So we may see pullbacks in some of the NASDAQ heavy stocks. But that could be, you know, a good opportunity when we start seeing that reversal coming around. All right, let's see. Apps, let's go take a look. All right, so looking at apps, good long-term potential, but it does have some additional risk, really strong momentum right now. Overall, stock is favorable. So this is an aggressive stock. Just keep that in mind and make sure you're trading it accordingly. When will I be on the Derby again? I'm not sure, Ed. You know, the Jockey Club guys, we switch out periodically. Really, there's no set schedule. It's more of a, you know, who has what every week and who can take advantage of it there. What should be the right place to trust this merger news? No idea. I don't really follow the news. Sandeep, you know, if you've been around here, if anybody's been around here, they can attest to this. I was taught from a very young age. I started trading around or learning to trade when I was 4 years old, picked it up from my father who taught me how to read charts, was one of the first things I did. One of the best pieces of advice he gave me is that the best way to watch the news is with the volume all the way off. Because at that point, you don't get any bias and you don't, you know, have your emotions taking advantage of it. Follow the charts. If you see a hot stock, put it on a chart, follow the trade on the chart. That way you're not getting emotional into it. And when your indicators are telling us, hey, the run is done, that's your time to get out. You know, systematic investing, not emotional investing. All right, Jerry wanted to take a look at Ford. Let's go FORD. So Ford, poor long-term potential, a lot of risk associated with it. Timing, it's okay, not great. It's above 1.1, so it does have a short-term uptrend. But you look at what price is doing, it's definitely pulling back a little bit. Overall, the stock is not favorable, even with that short-term uptrend right now. So speaking of Ford, you know, I do follow the automotive industry. Out of the two, Ford and GM financially is set up a little bit better. They seem, you know, Ford is putting a lot or banking a lot on the fact that they're updating their F-150s, their big trucks, but they still have spread themselves thin across a lot of different vehicles that they have in their lineup or their fleet. GM, on the other hand, has been slowly pulling back some of their vehicles that are not as popular and producing more of the vehicles that are popular, such as their trucks. Also, if you just looked at the news that came out today about Nissan scaling back production by 30%, that's not a good sign for them. You know, when you make a lot of different types of vehicles all in your lineup there, it requires a lot more resources, a lot more capital, and if you don't sell all of them, then you're exposed to taking a lot more risk. You don't have as much cash available to weather storms, if you will. So if we go take a look, Ford, let's go see, or excuse me, I forgot. There we go. Ford. Still same indicators. Poor long-term potential, a lot of risk associated with it. Timing is a little bit better, but overall, really, really risky in terms of fundamentals. Let's go look at their competitor, GM. GM, poor long-term potential. So GM actually still is a speculative play, but timing is still good. Overall, the stock is favorable. Not necessarily as much at this current moment, just because they don't have the new Bronco coming out. But overall, from a cash standpoint, from a fundamental standpoint, GM still is the better play. They have more cash on hand, so they can go through hard times. They can weather the hard times better than Ford can right now. That may change, and that could definitely change over the course of the next few years. But as of right now, that's the consensus overall. Let's see, AZN, poor long-term potential, but decent fundamentals. Timing is up, but not great. Overall, the stock's about average. Netflix, NFLX. All right, Netflix, good long-term potential. Oh yeah, we already talked about that one. Let's see. NIO, speculative play, poor long-term potential, a lot of risk associated with it, but it does have some strong momentum. Even with that momentum, the stock is not favorable right now. You can see it's down 7% today. It's had a big run. People are booking profits right now. Cat wants to take a look at HL. So mining companies. Mining has been a hot ticket item all year round. If anybody has watched some of our hot stock panels, every single month we are talking about gold, silver, somewhere in that sphere. HL, yeah, good long-term potential, but you do have some more risk associated with it. Look at that timing though. As an aggressive stock with strong momentum, this is a good opportunity to play right now. Let's see. Lowe's, LOW. This has been one of our top stocks for the last few weeks or month or so, but prudent stock. You have good long-term potential, solid fundamentals, really strong short-term momentum right now. Overall, the stock is favorable. Let's see. Penn. And we'll do a couple more after this one. So Penn, poor long-term potential, a lot of risk associated with it, but you do have some momentum. So it's a speculative play with strong momentum right now to take advantage of. Therefore, the stock is favorable for those speculators out there. All right, we'll do two more here. Let's see. Let's go through. INO, we'll take a look at. It's been a hot name recently. INO, speculating. A lot of these biotech companies are all speculating because everybody's, wondering which one's gonna hit the golden ticket and find the coronavirus vaccine. One day you hear it's one company, the next day you hear it's somebody else. So yeah, these are all speculating. These all have big pops and drops. If you're not comfortable with big movements, obviously stay away from them. But for right now with this one, poor long-term potential, a lot of risk. You do have some short-term uptrend right now, but not enough to make the overall stock favorable currently. It definitely has its days, but today is not one of those days. And lastly, we'll finish off with BLNK. Also, if you're not already a subscriber, you can click on the link in the description of the video, download it, sign up immediately, and get all this information and analyze any stock that maybe I didn't cover here today on your own, plus a lot more. If you already are a subscriber, just pull up your app, Tap on the little icon in the upper right, type in the symbol, and you can do the same kind of analysis here. So looking at BLNK, poor long-term potential, a lot of risk associated with it. Timing, it's in an uptrend, but not enough of an uptrend, not enough momentum behind it to offset the additional risk you're taking based off the fundamentals. So therefore, the stock is not favorable right now. If you're a speculator, yeah, there's definitely some opportunity to take advantage of it here. You know, it's up 8.5% today, or over 8.5%, 9% now. So it's definitely a hot mover right now for the daily basis. But for a swing trader or anybody else other than a day trader, probably going to be staying away from that one. All right, so recapping the market right now. As you can see, we're still neutral. We still advocate caution. We scroll down here. 3 yellow lights across the board. MTI is still higher on a day over day and week over week basis. Looking at the advanced declines, hasn't changed very much. 37% of stocks moving higher. 51.5% of stocks moving lower. Major indices still mixed. Dow down a little bit. NASDAQ down over 1%, almost 1.5%. S&P picking up its downward momentum down almost 0.7%. VectorVest composite also down a little bit more, down over 0.5% now. So on that note, it's been my pleasure being with you here today. Once again, if you haven't already hit that like button, that share button, make sure to do so now. All that helps me. And also for our Android users, next week, you will definitely not want to miss next week's session. It's going to be the first time we've ever done a live stream on an Android device, so it's going to be kind of interesting. And we have a lot of big announcements coming with that. Also, we will be doing a poll here for you guys to be able to answer, to figure out, what we want to make our group's name, what we want to make our chat's name. So if you have any ideas or suggestions, go ahead and leave those in the comments here as well today. And then next week, we'll put out the official poll so you guys can decide what we want to go with. So on that note, thank you everyone for continuing to be here. Thank you everyone who stuck around till the end. I appreciate it. It's been my pleasure being with you guys. Have a great rest of your trading day. Have a great weekend. Take care, and we'll see you all next week at 11 a.m. Eastern next Thursday. Bye for now, everybody.
Yeah.